Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Baltimore, Maryland. To open the show, we had a Owen Hart men's tournament qualifier, Bobby Fish versus Jeff Hardy. Adam Cole joins commentary and is already talking about how the third member of the Undisputed Elite will qualify, already selling Jeff short. I hope Jeff wins here tonight. Well, because I love the Undisputed Elite, I think story-wise, it makes more sense for one to fall short. And I also just love Jeff Hardy. And I want him to be in the Owen Cup. They start out way faster than I assumed, moving for move with each other. Fish starts to take control, striking Jeff down with anything he can, and we're also shown that Darby Allin and Sting are watching on. This is because Darby's in the tournament and he could end up facing one of these two in the first round or any point in the tournament. Outside the ring, Jeff now starts to come back with his signature offense. And then follows it up with taking Fish down and then with the Manhattan drop, followed by a heel drop for a near fall. He then lays out Bobby and Jeff goes to the top, but takes too long and Bobby hits an avalanche falcon arrow, followed by a knee bar that Jeff fights out on. Once again, Jeff goes to the top rope. This time he does hit the Swanton Bomb and he gets the win. Adam Cole is not happy about this. The Bucks walk out and they stand off with the Hardys. The Bucks then just move and check on Bobby. My WTR scale, I gave this a great, as well as the poster. It's great as well. We then get William Regal talking about wrestlers and scars, and they separate them from normal people. He says he doesn't want to beat you, he wants to leave a mark forever. My WTR scale, I gave it a good. I love William Regal. After sending that message, the Blackpool Combat Club look to prove a point. The AFO, though, know they need to beat them down, so they jump them before the match even begins. The Blade works over Brian, and then Angelico comes in to start putting in his submission work. Brian, though, stops all that with the big kicks followed by a flying knee. The Blackpool Combat Club has been amazing so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they will go from here. The Butcher takes control of Yuta using his size to his advantage, and they wear down Yuta in their corner, tagging in and out, applying different holds, or just straight up punching him. Yuta, though, fights out with a huge German suplex, getting the tag to Moxley, and then he clears house, tossing Blade around outside the Butcher, tossing the Blade around outside and then biting the Butcher in the ring. Mox and Brian double team Angelico, and then he kicks his head in while his teammates make sure that nobody gets involved. That, of course, gets the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a 8. We then get Tony Schiavone talking with Team Taz about their challenge, and they say they are not scared. Jurassic Express then comes in and says that it sounds like fun, but they want to spice it up a bit. Before the tag title match, why not have Ricky Starks defending the FTW title against Jungle Boy? And you know what? Ricky accepts, and we will get that match. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. I really am excited for that. We then get Swerve, Strickland, and Keith Lee talking about their unfinished business with Team Taz, and Lee says that when all is said and done, you will swerve in our glory. I really liked that. For my WTR scale, I give it a grade. It just made me laugh. We then get Wardlow versus MJF's mystery opponent. Wardlow makes his way to the ring with all the security, and he looks pissed off as ever. MJF then comes out and says he will not be sticking around and welcomes Wardlow's mystery Jesus Christ. Opponent, William Morrissey, or W. Morrissey in wrestling, to the ring as Wardlow's opponent. He looks in great shape and ready to dominate. The behemoths lock up and they start to feel each other out, and Morrissey is in control to start, but Wardlow, who is in the smaller position for the first time, besides against like says Cesar Bononi, but Cesar isn't strong. He doesn't let it phase him, and Morrissey fights him down, but is not letting the AEW fans, but he is, sorry, letting the AEW fans get to him. He literally ends up mocking Enzo because they want Enzo. No, they don't. Morrissey is beating down Wardlow and sets him up in the on the top rope and takes a bit too long, so Wardlow fights him off and hits a moonsault off the top rope. He then sets up for the Powerbomb Symphony and gets the win. He only ends up needing one. Wardlow then fights off all the security and waits in the ring for MJF because he knows MJF will come back out. He demands MJF release him from his contract, and MJF then suggests a match. If Wardlow wins, he gets his release. And then he has some conditions, and he'll give them to him, not here, but in the greatest city ever, Long Island, next week. My WTR scale, I gave this a great. I'm looking forward to this. This has been a long time coming. Ruby Soho, Tony Schiavone, Tony Storm, Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter talk with Tony Schiavone about their upcoming match. And it's apparently the first opening match in AEW for like a pay-per-view show or Rampage, whatever. Ruby says she's so annoyed with this no contact thing and they're just wanting to throw down now. And can't wait to do so on Rampage. My WTR scale, I gave it a good. Hangman Adam Page makes his way to the ring. He talks about CM Punk's challenge and says it would be easy to say he has respect for Punk and all that and how they could have a great match. But he says that's not going to happen. There'll be no handshake, no great wrestling. He's going to destroy CM Punk, and then it says that Punk is not here, and says that if he was to bet, Punk is off filming another TV show. Well, if Punk wants to fight, he's going to get the fight of his life. My WTR scale, I gave that a great as well. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh talk about Takeshita getting this nice video package and how they got nothing and they were going to prove to AEW they've been backing the wrong horses. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. We then get Chris Jericho versus Santana, and this will be a brutal match. These two used to be great friends, and now they are at each other's throats, and the Wizard, Chris Jericho, makes his way to the ring. And gets immediately jumped by Santana as he just starts to beat Jericho at ringside. The JAS distracts Santana, allowing Jericho to hit a springboard dropkick, sending Santana into the steel steps. Jericho is now in firm control. Whenever Santana gets something going, the JAS just gets involved, stopping him. Santana does end up fighting back. He's throwing everything at Jericho right now, just hitting whatever will land, and the JAS tried to use the bat, but Ortiz stops it, and Santana almost gets the win, but Jericho fights on. While the ref is distracted, Jericho low blows Santana and hits the Judas effect for the win. After the match, the JAS beat down Santana and Ortiz. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great as well. We then get Samoa Joe talking about Jay Lethal and asks if he is brave and gives him something to think about. At Rampage, he is coming for him. Right up here scale, I gave that a good. The Gun Club talk to the Acclaimed and they give them gifts. It's a couple pairs of scissors, and it seems like the Acclaimed and the Gun Club are teaming up. Right up here scale, I gave that a good as well. The Varsity Blondes call out the House of Black. It's mainly Brian Pillman. He's talking about how Julie has been really affected by this. He calls out the House of Black and the lights go out. The House of Black makes their way to the ring and the Blondes stand ready to brawl as Julia watches on. And the House of Black takes out Griff and Pillman and then turns to Julia and they hand her a chair and it seems like she's going to join them, but she stops and she can't. So Black just starts screaming in her face when the Death Triangle come out to make the save. Well, it was a little odd. I'm excited to see where this is going. For my WTR scale, I gave it a good. Jade Cargill and the baddies talk, and they have been partying since Jade's win. They run down everything they've done, Red qualifying, and says she's going to win the whole thing. period. My WTR scale, I give it a meh. I really don't care about them. I'm sorry. We then get a match where if you blinked, you missed it. I'm sorry. These two are so athletic, so fast moving, I can't even think of what they're going to do. They start out so fast, flipping all over the ring. Dante jumps Phoenix 3 or 4 times. A Canadian Destroyer, just happens. We then get what's called a backflip Russian leg sweep, I guess was what we were going to go for it. The flips are just coming. Seriously, just don't blink. Phoenix then hits a powerbomb cutter for a near fall. Again, a powerbomb cutter. They go up to the top rope, and Dante lays out Phoenix and goes to the top rope, but Phoenix comes back and goes for the same thing from the middle rope, but this time from the top rope, and they land on their feet. Some more back and forth, and Phoenix just slams Dante on his head with what I would assume was supposed to look like a falcon arrow, but it just didn't quite go. And he gets the win. After the match, we finally get the bracket. Cole versus Harwood, Hardy versus Allen, O'Reilly versus Phoenix, and Joe versus the Joker. We are getting the final member is a mystery man. For my WTR scale, I gave it a great. I have no idea who that's going to be. I want to try and make guesses here. If they're going up against Joe, they have to be somebody who is credible to beat Joe or is okay with a loss to Joe. So it's really an up in the air thing. Darby talks about his match with Jeff. He says it's basically written itself, and Sting says he knows Darby's going to bring it, and Jeff is for sure as well. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. Thunder Rosa talks about how she has succeeded at everything she ever wanted, and now she is ready to accept any challenges. She talked about wanting to meet one wrestler when she was younger, and that was Serena Deeb. She respects Deeb, and Deeb says she respects her as well when she makes her way out. But she says that the best in the world should be champ, and she says that she's on another level, and it's time for her to have a title that shows it. At Double or Nothing, she's going to take Rosa's title. My WTR scale, I gave that a good. Silver talks about facing Punk next week in his hometown, and says Punk is not ready for the Meat Man. My WTR scale, I gave that a good. I love me some Johnny. We then get our main event of the evening. Deonna Purrazzo, the ROH Women's Champion, defending against the ROH Women's Interim Champion, Mercedes Martinez, in a champion versus champion unification match. Purrazzo was unable to defend her title at Supercard of Honor, so an interim title was made. Martinez won, and here we are. Martinez tries to adhere to the Code of Honor, but Deonna slaps her hand away, and we start the feeling out process. They're moving slowly, and Deonna takes control for a moment, targeting Martinez's arm on the outside. And then Martinez starts to come back, but Deonna sends her arm flying into the post. Martinez, though, fights through, and they have it. They've picked up the pace quickly now, and Martinez looks like she's rolling, but again, Deonna stops her. Martinez starts to just stomp on Purrazzo, and then locks in a Dragon Sleeper and gets the win. My WTR scale, I gave it a great. They did very well. I really did enjoy that match. But that for my overall for the show, I gave it a good. It was a really good show. I really did enjoy that. My segment of the night goes to Wardlow's match because it was really more a segment than it was a full-on match. It was a full-on match, but they just turned into a segment. The match of the night definitely goes to Phoenix and Dante. They killed it. And the performance of the night, Phoenix and Dante as well. I mean, they could have broke their necks at any point, so that was just amazing. And that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.